Hello, creeps. Mike Jarek is, indisposed at the moment, but have no fear. The Crypt Keeper is here to welcome you to another exciting episode of Sci-Fi Buzz.
This week, forget your local Cineplex. Cinetropolis is here, the high-tech future of entertainment. Vonda McIntyre, who went from biology to writing best-selling science fiction. You've heard of looking to the stars for the answers? This man looks to Star Trek. And Tales from the Crypt hits the big screen, causing some big screams. Welcome, Buzzers. Oh, have I missed you over the last couple of weeks? Welcome back into Sci-Fi Central. This is Sci-Fi Buzz. I'm your friendly host, Mike Jarek. But I'm glad you're here because I'm steamed and I've got a vent to somebody here. Look what I found on the computer. Warner Brothers is putting Batman, the Penguin, and Catwoman in a national touring ice show, folks. Oh, yeah. Along with their cartoon characters like Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and Tweety Bird. Warner Brothers, what are you thinking? I can't believe this. They're Susan, get off the phone. They're mixing anthropomorphic characters with superheroes. This is unheard of. It's got to stop. I mean, my favorite dark adventure, Batman, on skates. On skates! It drives me loose.
Get a hold of yourself, Mike. I've got something great to tell you about. Cinetropolis, the amusement park of the future.
Yeah?
It'll cheer you up, I promise.
Okay. Cinetropolis is an entertainment center which blends large screen formats, simulation, and virtual reality technology. And if everything goes as planned, these complexes will be springing up everywhere. Currently, there are two in operation, one in Ledyard, Connecticut, and the other in Japan. Cinetropolis is the brainchild of the wizards at iWorks Entertainment in Burbank, California. Edward Newquist is one of those wizards.
Well, the company was founded approximately 9 years ago by two former Disney executives, Don Iwerks and Stan Kinsey. Both of them had left Disney to sort of pursue their entrepreneurial dreams of starting their own company and providing originally hardware systems to world expos and museums and theme parks all over the world. About 4 years into it, they started designing entire attractions by providing the films as well as the projection systems and the creative concepts for them as well.
iWorks is only one of several companies creating simulation theaters, but they have a strategy to blow away the competition. That is, offer the ultimate in variety. All the attractions in Cinetropolis are programmable, and their programs are continually changed.
It really allows people to spend a good couple of hours riding different attractions, because you may get off the Turbo Tour Theater and go into Video 360 to see a film, but after Video 360 is over, you could get right back on the Turbo Tour and watch a different film.
The software at Cinetropolis is updated every 4 or 5 months. Plus, the attractions are changed each day to offer nighttime visitors a radically different experience than the daytime visitors.
In the daytime, the Cinetropolis is designed to be more family-based so that everybody can enjoy it together. At nighttime, it takes on a little bit more of an MTV rock and roll feel, and the lights will change. The whole sort of atmosphere will change and become a little more hipper.
Cinetropolis! We made it! Let's party!
Each Cinetropolis houses 4 theaters. In the giant screen theater, extra-large film traveling at an ultra-fast speed is projected onto a monster-sized screen. The Turbo Tour Theater synchronizes hydraulically actuated seats with the screen image to create a ride simulation experience.
Air One, Alpha has dinosaurs.
We better think about getting you out of there.
In the 360-degree theater, the film completely encircles viewers, and the Virtual Adventures Theater creates a 3-dimensional computer-generated world that audiences can interact with and influence.
Most of the ideas come from one, things that we like, you know, internally, things that we see happening and things that we think might be popular, but also just from, you know, your childhood dreams. Geez, how would you like to fly in a supersonic jet? You know, geez, that would be a great film, so we go out and make that one.
But some of the ideas for future Cinetropolis films come from Hollywood.
Interestingly enough, we have worked for quite a while with 20th Century Fox on obtaining the rights to do an Aliens attraction in our virtual adventures as well as for our motion simulation attraction. That's one that a lot of us here have wanted to do for a long time.
The future of entertainment might end up looking a lot like Cinetropolis.
This is Michael Thompson from Baltimore, Maryland, and I would like to recommend Back to the Batcave, an autobiography by Adam West with Jeff Rosen. This is about West's involvement with the Batman series and contains many amusing stories and information about the impact of Batman on him, the cast, and society at large. My mother gave me an autographed copy for my 34th birthday, and I will treasure it always.
Dave Marinaccio is a handsome, seemingly sane, successful 40-something advertising executive. In his new book, All I Really Need to Know I Learned from Watching Star Trek, he declares Star Trek to be his guiding light to personal and professional fulfillment.
People say, Dave, Star Trek was a television show, don't you get it? And you hear this. But if you think about it, it's not the source of knowledge that's important, it's the quality of knowledge. And I think the quality of knowledge in a television show written by Gene Roddenberry is going to be much higher than the quality of knowledge in, say, a book written by Fabio.
Whether he's at a business meeting or a social gathering, Marinaccio finds himself digging into the vast Star Trek resources of his mind in a concerted effort to make the best of any situation. In fact, as a diehard Trekker, he's picked up several essential life lessons.
If this planet is to develop in the way it should, we must equalize both sides again.
I think that the major thing in Star Trek is the Prime Directive. It's the basis of the whole series. And the Prime Directive is a wonderful way not only to treat a planet when you come in your spaceship to that planet, you know, you're going to respect the rights of that society and you're going to respect the people on that society or beings on that society to have a system and let them have their own system, not to interfere. That's a great way to run a personal life. You know, other people are different from you. Other people have the right to live their lives the way they want. The Prime Directive is not only a way to treat other societies, it's a way to treat other people.
Though he holds the entire crew of the Enterprise in high esteem, Marinaccio's admiration for Captain Kirk borders on idol worship.
James Tiberius Kirk, okay? He's moral, he's creative, he's intelligent, he's at the top of his profession, he's well known in his profession, and he's extremely successful with women, okay? There are worse role models than that.
Kiss me.
Believe it or not, when prodded about his own bachelor status, Marinaccio readily points out Kirk's commitment-free success with women.
Well, you ever notice that the only marriage that's really lasted on Star Trek is the marriage between, you know, Kirk and the ship? I mean, O'Brien got married to Keiko and they immediately exiled him to Deep Space Nine.
Okay, so Kirk's a little loose with the ladies. But let's not forget, he's also a hard-nosed, respected boss. Marinaccio firmly believes earthly enterprises could learn a thing or two from the captain's executive instincts.
Direct computer feed to Mr. Spock.
Hi, sir.
Kirk is the best manager I've ever seen. He never uses fear or intimidation as a management tool, and that gets him a loyalty. I think people trust him and respect him. He has a foundation of trust in the place he lives. He leads through example. He's the first on a transporter pad. He's the first one down. He shows the people who work for him that their safety is his primary concern.
Marinaccio is thrilled with the positive feedback he's been getting from fans who've read his book. But his impossible dream is to receive a response from the late great bird of the galaxy himself, Gene Roddenberry.
The only reason I'm here, the only reason they're all there, is because of Gene Roddenberry, because of Gene Roddenberry's vision. He's obviously a man far ahead of his time, and as well as being just a brilliant television producer. That's who I would like to talk to, Gene Roddenberry, maybe, you know, maybe I'll get the chance 50 years from now.
The secrets behind the demons in the horror flick Demon Knight, and the saucers have landed in Bob's basement. Next. So, Dave, what do you think? Think Fango's gone soft on us here?
Yeah, definitely a lot less exploding heads and blood, Mike.
Yeah. Dave and I think that Fangoria magazine, after 16 years, is kind of toning it down just a little bit, maybe in response to current-day horror films like Interview with the Vampire and Frankenstein. Oh, excuse me, they're calling them period pieces, not horror films like us purists like to call them. Well, speaking of horror films, our crew just got back from visiting the folks over at Available Light in Burbank, California. They came up with the special effects for Demon Night.
Let's go, come on. Hurry up, hurry up.
Man, talk about ugly.
Making a frightening contribution to Demon Night is the special effects house Available Light. Run by John Van Fleet, Available Light has played an important part in such special effects-laden films as Ghostbusters, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and more recently, Stargate. For Demon Night, John and his staff had their hands full with several, shall we say, eye-popping effects. For John, the process begins with a look at the film's storyboards.
In this particular case, we're going to be focusing on this one shot where this demon gets blasted back across the room, and we're going to be going and animating in the soul juice that flies out when it's destroyed. All right, what we have over here is that same scene, and January is animating the what is going to be the eye surges as the souls are released from the body. This is the old system of basically drawing everything one single frame at a time. This has been the same process we've been, people have been doing for 50, 60 years. And what we're going to be doing is taking this and hybriding this together with the digital stuff, because this is the best way to get the look out of this, is with this particular method.
At the same time the eyes are being animated, another employee is busily at work on the same shot. He digitally removes cable wires that were used to hold the demon up.
We take surrounding areas of the same kind of color and texture, and we take them and copy them from the surrounding areas over where the wire is, and then that makes a seamless texture or pattern, thus removing the wire. So I would go and select an area near it, and then I would just start painting it out. And then you do that frame by frame, and then when it goes, you see that the wire is removed.
This is for 4 years of minimum wage, you...
Another of the many highlights of Demon Night is the usually cable-bound Crypt Keeper actually walking. To accomplish this, an actor playing the Crypt Keeper wore a green sock on his head. Using this matte effect, John's company then replaces the actor's head with the head from the Crypt Keeper puppet.
We'd never be able to do this using the regular puppeteering tricks, because there was just no room for all the operators. In this particular case, we had the 5 guys, and they're all back there doing their performance, which is necessary to have all the facial tics and all this working, because you got to have them. We don't want to ever underplay their participation in this. And then once it's done, we lose the cables, we lose all the props, and it's bolted in, and you've got a guy walking and talking and looking like a corpse.
You call that acting?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I do call it acting.
You're no gory Cooper.
Thanks to the work of companies like Available Light, you can bet films like Demon Night will be scaring up big numbers at the box office.
And now, once again, it's time to go to Bob's Basement to visit one of the world's biggest collectors of science fiction memorabilia and a guy who really knows his way around a dumpster, Bob.
But Bob, I do believe in UFOs. I understand you have some flying saucers here.
Well, sure. Doesn't everybody?
Well, no, I don't.
I'll show you some.
But wouldn't you know you would? You're my favorite dish anyway.
This here thing landed in my backyard right here. I landed by a bunch of cow stuff, and I picked it up. And my wife uses it for a lamp now. It's a nice thing. It landed, and it...
Bob,
yeah.
Come out of it.
Oh.
But that was very good
Hi,
impression.
Mike. How are you? Oh, you're here to see the props, aren't you?
Yeah. I didn't know you were from Arkansas.
I didn't either. This is from The Intruders, is what this is from.
Oh, yeah?
It's a TV miniseries about these aliens that abducted the women and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And this is a beautiful model.
What's it made out of?
It's all out of fiberglass. Got hundreds of lights on it.
God, look at all the detail on this thing.
Oh, my gosh,
look at all these lights across the top.
Tons of lights on here, yeah. And then to light them up, look what it takes to do that, though.
Oh, well, plug that in. Look at all these
plug
wires.
this in. It
Why
would
not?
blow up my house.
No, you just don't have it working, do you? I
That's
know
true.
you. I know
That's
you.
true.
Whoa, this is a nice, sleek one, isn't it?
Isn't that neat?
Can I pick it up?
Yes, you can. That's made out of cardboard. A friend of mine, Mike Miner, made that.
That's cardboard?
Yes, it's called The Lost Saucer was the show. It was a Saturday morning show. Jim Neighbors and Ruth Bussey.
Golly!
And they had a budget of about $0.05, and that's why he built it out of cardboard. Now, this is the mothership from V.
The mothership!
This is the mothership, I'll tell you. Look at the detail in this. It's wonderful. It's fiberglass here again. All this stuff, you can get real close on this, which they did in the show.
When was this made?
This was in the, geez, I don't know what the heck was it.
Was it in the 70s?
Yeah, late 70s, I think. Yeah, I believe so. But you can
Well,
see.
look at all the detail on the sides.
Oh, it's loaded.
Here.
And yeah, it used to light up, by the way, too, all that stuff.
Yeah?
It's really nice.
Underneath.
Good ship. Really a very, very nice model. Here again, that's another model of a flying saucer, your traditional flying saucer.
Oh, here's one with a different shape.
A friend of mine, Paul Blaisdell, made that for a movie in 1957 that I worked on with him called The Invasion of the Saucermen. And he wanted it to look different from the normal saucer.
Sure.
So this does. And here's the unique thing about this. 57, remember. Look at this.
Still works.
It works a lot better than I do.
Now, what is that? I mean,
This is made out of white pine. No, it's a battery in here.
It's a battery?
Yeah, inside of here. And this is carved out of white pine.
What's this big notch out of
That
it?
happened in 1971, the earthquake.
So why do we always think of alien spaceships as flying saucers? Why always have that same shape?
Well, it got started around 1948. There was a private pilot flying around. He saw these saucers, something in the sky, and when he tried to describe them, he said they looked like saucers without cups on them, and it became flying saucer.
Oh, I recognize those. You had those on the Sci-Fi Buzz set, right?
Oh, yes, yeah. These are the original saucers from the original Plan 9 from outer space that Ed Wood made.
The real
in the
director,
50s.
Ed Wood?
Yes. He went to a hobby shop and bought these. This is a Lindbergh flying saucer kit. Now, of course, through the years, they had the fantasy thing going and the mystery. It was paper plates. It was all kinds of crazy stuff, hubcaps.
This is the model.
It is an actual model of a flying saucer.
From the
for sure.
1950s.
Right. And then, when they did the Ed Wood movie with Johnny Depp, they did go to paper plates.
So they believed in the myth and the fantasy.
They wanted
then.
to keep the, yeah, because this looks really neat.
This is just Chinette, isn't it? It's
That's
just paper
exactly-
plates.
You betcha.
Oh,
Isn't
oh
that
you dropped
great?
one here. Oh,
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, what's this one from?
Oh, that's my cat's food dish. Oh, man, he's coming now.
You have a cat?
Yeah.
The hugely popular author of The Crystal Star and Dream Snake, Vonda McIntyre, after this pause for reflection.
You know, it's been 12 years since the last Star Wars movie, but look how popular these books are now. Here's a listing of where each hardcover landed on the bestseller list in the first week it was out. All the stories that pick up after Jedi have a loyal following. And that goes for the latest space saga, Crystal Star by Vonda McIntyre.
Vonda McIntyre has been writing science fiction since she was 20. In the late 70s, she won a Hugo and a Nebula for her highly imaginative novel, Dream Snake. It's been described as the first published example of farm animals. That's spelled P-H-A-R-M. But even though she's had a science background, she hasn't been stuck in the world of hard sci-fi. She plays in the fantasy universes of Star Wars and Star Trek with ease.
I love the original series. I started writing a script for the original series during the first commercial break of the first episode of Star Trek in September of 1966 when I was 18 years old and was just about to go off to college. I based The Entropy Effect, which is one of the original Star Trek novels that I wrote, not one of the film spin-offs. I based it on a screenplay that I wrote in 1966. And it's surprising how much of that original script lasted into the novel that I wrote 14 years later. It was a very interesting experience. It was like collaborating with myself at a much younger age. I wrote 2 originals. The other was The First Adventure, which was the first voyage of the Enterprise with the crew as we know it. So it was really fun to go back before you ever saw them in the TV series and figure out how their relationships had evolved.
The latest Vonda McIntyre novel, The Crystal Star, is her first experience with the George Lucas-created Star Wars ensemble.
Actually, there's more freedom, I think, in the Star Wars universe than in the Star Trek universe because George Lucas is not planning to make more movies about the characters from the middle 3. They do care very much about it, the characters, but they don't insist that you keep them exactly the same at the end as they were at the beginning. They can go through changes. They can, things can happen to them that will have effects on them in the future.
McIntyre has the good fortune to have a publisher that is reprinting some of her most important novels. Thanks to Bantam Books, you can now find her award-winning Dream Snake in bookstores, along with the wonderfully wild Starfarers series of 4 books. Vonda describes her work with such glee that she makes writing sound like a great full-time endeavor. But then she lists the caveats.
It's a crazy business to be in. There's no security. You have to pay your own health insurance. There's no assurance that the book that you have out will be a success. There's no assurance that you'll be able to sell your next book. I mean, it's a completely insane business to be in. I don't recommend it, but it works for me.
Get your very own Sci-Fi Buzz t-shirt. We'll tell you how after this disconnect.
Well, the word is out. People clamoring for their Sci-Fi Buzz t-shirts. They're only $15. Hey, Dick, what about charging them more money than $15? No? We can make a killing. All right, $15. The boss says $15. If you want yours, send us your size, medium, large, or extra large. Of course, your name and address. And a check for $15. It's going to take 4 weeks because we do have other jobs to do, bringing you the show. And speaking of the show, we have a great one planned for next week. See you then. Bye-bye, everybody. Here, Dave.
The mysteries of aliens, the magic of Houdini, the miracles of angels. Now the real stories, people, and events are explained in a thrilling new series, Mysteries, Magic, and Miracles, hosted by Patrick McNee. Coming up next.